and all present here. On the behalf of Department of African Studies, I, Ekta Singh, welcome all of our esteemed guests for formal interaction on the education and research culture in Africa and research culture in India. Today, we have special guests with us who join for this formal interaction.
Professor Maria Smith, Associate Professor, Academic Specialization in Public Administration, renowned for her leadership at University of Free State, South Africa. Professor Elizabeth Van Deventer, Advocate of Supreme Court of Africa, South Africa. So, and Dr. Richa Sharma, Deputy Director at ICSSR, Ministry of Education, Government of India. And Professor M.P. Singh, Dean Examination Controller at Baba Saheb Bhimrao Ambedkar Central University, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. My fellow colleagues, faculty members, dear research scholars, and my dear students, the Department of African Study has organized this formal introduction on the education and research culture in Africa and research culture in India. I hope at the last we all will have insightful knowledge by the exchange of idea between all of us. I would take this opportunity to formalize you all with the Department of African Study, which was established in December 1954 by the personal initiative of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, first Prime Minister of India, and was formally inaugurated on August 16, 1955. With a mandate to promote awareness about Africa, the department undertakes multidisciplinary teaching and research. Besides PhD program, the department offers MA in African Study, certificate and diploma courses in Swahili languages. University of Delhi is the only Indian university offering Swahili language courses in the whole India since its inception in 1955. The department plans to introduce postgraduate diploma in international trade with Africa from this session. The department provides a forum for fostering mutual understanding, friendship, and cooperation between people of India and Africa. The department extends beyond its primary function of acquisition and dissemination of knowledge to promote India-Africa relations. The department provides opportunity to research scholars to interact with different stakeholders, including policymakers, business community, and other foreign delegates. African Study Program is an area study program which involves multidisciplinary teaching and research.
Educated at the University of Free State, she earned a BRS in 1988, followed by an LLB in 1990, 2 LLM degrees in 1991 and 1995, and a Doctor of Laws in 2001. Throughout her academic journey, Professor Elizabeth Ma'am has made significant contributions to legal scholarship, focusing particularly on partnerships, international economic law, and legal ethics. Currently serving as a professor and head of the Department of Mercantile Law at the University of Free State. She has authored numerous accredited articles, book reviews, and project reports. Her research interest encompasses trade law, corporate law, and legal education. Professor Elizabeth impact extends beyond academic. She is actively involved in professional societies and has garnered multiple research excellence ratings. Her commitment to advancing legal scholarship is evident through her contributions to editorial boards and research committees, influencing the development of mercantile law both nationally and internationally. She has achieved numerous noteworthy accomplishments and make
Were you born yet? Some of us, a few. What I'm going to do is to give you a brief introduction to the University of the Free State, to give you an idea of who we are and so on, and also then to maybe get you to be interested in joining us with research, and where we can help you, assist you to make contacts within our university. I will give, I think my cards are there in my bag. I will just distribute a few of them. You're more than welcome to contact us. If you're interested in history, I can get somebody from the history department, sociology. I heard you are doing quite a lot of different things, even somebody doing research on African cinema. So there's quite a lot of interesting things going on here, and I would really like to support you in any way, and you refer to the development of your new program. Again, international economic law, international trade law, that's my interest. Please contact me if in any way we can help you. Somebody put something in inverted commas, but we've broadened law because of the idea of what we are supposed to do with law, and also from looking at, and we spoke about constitutions this morning, the idea of constitutions and what we are doing. So from a legal perspective, we are now also going into these other fields, and sometimes for somebody as old as I am, it's very difficult because I tend to go back to, this is what the legislation says, find me case law. And then my students will say, but there's no case law on this is outside. And so we're looking at specifically why we are here, and the idea of South Africa, India. We have a problem with them paying their class fees, etc. So it's a very difficult situation regarding the students and student fees and so on. I'm not sure that you heard about the 2016 problems we had in South Africa. Roads must fall, and then we had fees must fall, and it's politically active students, but for different reasons. The roads must fall one, I think, I shouldn't say it aloud, but I kind of had a bit of sympathy with them in the sense of roads being from the colonizing English, but on the other hand, the same people who said roads must fall took Rhodes scholarships to go to Cambridge and Oxford in London. So my question is, you take bursaries from them, and on the other hand you say roads must fall. It's a bit, yeah. Oh, is it? And then also linked to that, and when I say roads must fall, the idea of decolonizing. Now in South Africa it's a very, shall I say, fashionable topic at the moment, and it is a whole question on what is decolonizing. Is it throwing away everything Western, throwing away anything British? Is it? And when we were at the National University of Gujarat, one of the lecturers said, remember, there's different ways. One is everything after the British left. That's decolonized. If you change your Companies Act, which you did just like we did, we had the new one introduced in 2011, the 2008 Companies Act. That is supposed to be decolonized because we made it. It went through our parliament, it went through our process with no influence of the British. The other argument is there's still within that legislation everything from the British, because we inherited our company law from the British. But also the question is, if it's working, why throw out the baby with the bathwater? And then of course there was, maybe that's not politically correct to tell that, but one of the professors, she's this long, this tall, she stood there and she said, "You all mistaken, you do not understand. We past decolonizing, we in recolonizing. Look what China is doing." And I went kind of, what? But if you see what is happening in Africa and you are doing African studies, you cannot not look at the influence of the Chinese, I don't want to call it invasion, but the Chinese invasion into Africa. You cannot look at African studies without taking that into account. There is a huge development through the Chinese, roads, harbors, etc. But there's also a taking of natural resources, just like we had before decolonizing. So I think what she said does make sense. I think one is not allowed to say it quite often, because I think it sounds politically not correct to say recolonizing or Chinese invasion or anything like that. And I don't want to sound xenophobic, but you have to take that into account when you study Africa now. You cannot look at Africa without the influence of China. Then if we speak about research and things, especially at our university, we have what is called Vision 130, and it is to guide the university towards 2034, when it will be our 150th anniversary of the university itself. And basically we try to verbalize where we are going, and if one looks at this, you will see it is what the university is supposed to do.
Should I say about you?
Good afternoon. I think I would just like to introduce myself and just set a couple of things straight. Okay, I'm not from public law. I am from the Faculty of Law, Department of Mercantile Law, and Elizabeth Snowman van Deventer is my boss. I have, however, published extensively in international and national journals. I've delivered almost 50 presentations at international conferences, and I joined the university in 2001 as a junior lecturer. I was in practicing as an advocate before that, first of all specializing in criminal law, and then I found labor law, and there was nobody who could do litigation in labor law, and then I moved over to the labor law side of the business. So thank you very much for that introduction. I presented a paper on gender studies at the latest conference being organized by the exact Department of African Studies by Professor Singh, and thank you for that opportunity as well. I know that I let the cat out of the bag, and quite a few people were, I wouldn't say interested, almost upset about the facts about the lack of gender transformation, but I decided today to talk to you about a workplace, about the culture in a workplace, about hostility in a workplace, where different cultures come together in one area and one person needs to manage that. But before I take you through my presentation, I would first of all like to observe protocol and say I thank you, Professor Singh, Professor Kumar, everybody else from the faculty and the students on a Saturday during university vacation being here. Very grateful and very honored. Thank you so much, and thank you so much. In South Africa, we have got very stringent labor laws. It is 72 times more stringent than the USA. It means it's 72 times more difficult to fire somebody in South Africa than in the USA. It's got a big influence on the workplace, and I believe, although I'm a proponent for living in dignity and working in dignity, that this vastly contributes to the fact that our youth is unemployed. We sit with a youth unemployment figure of almost 62%. Mainly because the youth say, I want to be a formal employee, I don't want to be a contract worker, I'm not interested in being a driver, I want all the benefits of formal, permanent employment, and we can't keep up in terms of providing all these different kinds of jobs. So, but what we do see in formal employment is the fact that there's a lot of bullying going on in workplaces. Because you've got different cultures, you've got different levels of skills, you've got different interests, you've got different management styles. And by now I think you will know that I like to work interdisciplinary because I don't believe that we should function on an island. And that in a court case, my judge specifically said, a workplace is rift with differences. It is not just a smiling place, it is not just a place where you go for fun. There's conflict, you have to have rules. Within a workplace, it is better to have universal rules. And currently there is a lack of proper regulation, and there is not a specific act that regulates, prohibits, or deals with bullying. Some people call it moral harassment, some people call it psychological harassment, some people call it victimization. There are different words denoting exactly the same thing. So bullying has reached epidemic proportions in the workplace. And a lot of organizations actually praise management with a bullying style, because very often these managers are the managers that deliver in terms of productivity. So to me, it's more important to say what is bullying not than saying what it is, because in different cultures, different jurisdictions, it's called different names, it's being dealt with completely differently. I think one of the most important things when we talk about bullying is to say we don't talk about a single action. If I'm angry with you and I say something, that's not bullying. If I disagree with you vehemently, it's not bullying. It is this continuous negative actions over a period of time that demeans you, that has got a negative influence on your dignity, that makes you perform lower, that takes away your self-respect at the end of the day. Research worldwide has shown that there are certain categories of people that get bullied more often than others. And one of those are single females and single females who are heading up houses. Now, in South Africa, a lot of families are being headed by females. I had a look at the lack of bullying legislation in India, and the only thing I could find was a little bit around moral harassment, which doesn't really address power harassment in India per se, which means that similar to South Africa, there seems to be a huge gap. There might be guiding instruments, but that is what they are just guiding instruments. So if there are any students that would like to work on bullying, victimization, moral harassment, I think it's an open field with a lot of similarities, but not being the same. The most important take-home idea is that the school bully grows up, and the school bully then goes to work. And because there's no reprisal, those actions just simply continue. If you add to that cyber harassment, Professor Singh, I'm thinking of you specifically, while it's now being harassed electronically, for instance, it amplifies, because by the time that the negative comment has been taken down, hundreds and thousands of people have seen that. So we see a lot of suicide, not only in schools, but also with students at university that commit suicide or that have suicidal ideation, because everybody now knows about this. Even if you say just take it down.
Pleasure to be the part of African Studies under the headship of Professor Gajendra Singh sir. A very heartfelt welcome to Professor Elizabeth and Professor Denny, Professor Singh, our Singh sir from the Lucknow University, and our fellow colleague, young minds, brilliant minds who are going to take up the task of Vision Viksit Bharat. Indeed, it's a very good opportunity for each and every one of us to understand two aspects that has been covered at this point of time by Professor Elizabeth about understanding the type of issues with respect to decolonization, because this is something as a movement taking place in India as well. Second is about the bully culture. So these are the at a macro level what has to be done by us, and second is at the micro level what is to be guarded by us. So at times intentionally or unintentionally we become the part of the bully culture. Intentionally or unintentionally we become subject to it. In India it is like a harassment, it is called harassment at workplace. National Commission of Women do come up with the lot of understanding, lot of data and records with respect to that. We are having number of cases pending with respect to domestic violence, more than 4 lakh cases in the Supreme Court with respect to domestic violence. More than 4,46,000 cases are pending with respects to crime against women, as per the data of National Crime Bureau report of 2022. What we need to understand is women being a very integral part of the development story of any nation. There was a time when there was a man who was taking a lead, but now simultaneously everywhere, because the intellectual potential of both are same. It cannot be said one is having more and other is having less. So both are having equal intellectual potential, and that is to be considered, to be respected. That doesn't mean the intellectual potential of a man to be subsided, definitely not. The experience and the knowledge what they have gathered, it's to be taken up a part of it. So then only a holistic development can take place. This can happen only when we are having a very conducive environment of workplace, because when you envisage some vision, whether it was a vision what has been expressed by Professor Elizabeth with respect to UFS, University of Free State, talking about 130 years of completion in 2034, they want to have identified what has to be their goal. This cannot be done when we are into a power struggle, we are in the strife, and that's why when we are talking about India to become a developed nation by 2047, giving a space to each other, accommodating each other, creating a conducive environment at a workplace, conducive environment for the education becomes really very important, and that is not cannot be taught to anyone. It should come from within. It should come from the understanding. While making the analysis of what person has said, how it's said, let's make a more be rational rather being critical or being judgmental. So somewhere the attitude of being judgmental is to be subsided by us, and that is becomes very important part to contribute towards the developed nation. Talking about Africa and India in a nutshell, I would like to say decolonization only. Not I will talk about many things because due to paucity of education, decolonization of administration, decolonization of law, and decolonization of thought process. Administration, as it's a great domain, not in a 2 minutes I cannot discuss about it. About the law, ma'am has just begun, Elizabeth has just begun about it. I'll say about that, how to understand decolonization of law. Remember one thing, there is a two set of law, proactive law and reactive law. What I have understood so far, being working in the National Law University, being with the University of Free State, there is a reactive law and there is a proactive law. The law that has been given by the colonizers to us is a reactive law, and the law which is exist in our traditions, whether it is an African tradition, Indian tradition, or even what I have studied in the Japanese tradition, it is a proactive law. That is what to be done, should not do it. The moral law or ethical laws becomes much more important, and they are having a larger canvas compared to the reactive law. If our canvas of proactive law and understanding will be higher, definitely the crime rate will minimize. And by doing this, automatically we can decolonize the system of law. The last part, what is I would like to say, is about the decolonization of thought process. How to decolonize the thinking process. So there is a very simple way and mechanism by which we can work on whatever is happening. Do not question to the people, but question to the systems. What the system we follow. So questioning is not to why it is happening, going to the head of the department asking questions. It's not like that. Ask questions to yourself first. Start talking to yourself first. And this is a job of a social scientist. So no matter whether you are in a law, management, political science, history, sociology, we all are a part of the social sciences. And this is what we need to understand, that something very good with the form of research and create more people-to-people relations for the betterment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insightful words. Now I would like to invite Dr. Suresh sir on the dais for giving remarks on this formal introduction.
Good afternoon. Namaste to all. Professor Dynamo Smith, Professor Elizabeth, Professor Richa, professors from different departments, Professor KP Singh, my old friend, research scholars, because I'm the last speaker hopefully, so sharing our department experience with you when the discussion was on for the decolonization, particularly emphasized that decolonization doesn't mean only speaking against the colonizers. Decolonization means to speak about ourselves. In that process, Dr. Richa has rightly expressed that in India we are working on writing on unknown soldiers. Who are the unknown soldiers? Unknown heroes who fought for the freedom struggle, who fight against colonialism, but because of the time or because of the colonial mindset, their names didn't appear, their names was not. As far as the other serious issue is concerned, the bullying, I was just sharing with you earlier also, it again depends on the families. I shared with you that we have the joint family system, and even in Africa it's a joint family system, and on Sunday in a family we had a get together of 15 people, 20 people over coffee, over chai. This is one part of the bringing children of families. And today when Dr. Smith is saying the bullying and other things, it is all psychological, it is all political, it is all socially, it is all culturally. I am not going into these details. But our department is ready to work with you on these concerns also, because Asia and Africa, we have number of common things.
Thank you, Ekta, for calling me for this vote of thanks. Good afternoon, all of you, for these special interactions, and I would like to say my gratitude to our friends from Free State University, to begin with Professor Diana Smith, who spoke about these social evils called bullying, especially in the workplace, and it's a very practical issues when we work that we face in the workplace. And thanks for sensitizing us. And then also I would also thank Dr. Elizabeth and Leventer, who spoke about this decolonizing. Dr. Richa Sharma, Deputy Director at ICSR, who basically spoke in the decolonizing ideas and our kind of research mandates and all. And then also I would like to thank our guest, Professor MP Singh, Dean Control Examinations from our Ambedkar University, and also Professor Suresh Kumar sir, who also gave out the overview of the decolonization ideas, and also our head of the department, Professor Gajendra Singh, who took all pains to organize this, kind of discussions, and also our research scholars who have also take out the times, and also our secretariat staff who have also, provided all this logistical support. Thank you.